Gather around. It's time for the show to begin. Ladies and gentlemen, this is...
Hey everyone, my name is Jason.
Hi friends, it's Desiree Josen.
Alright, there were so many matches this year that were just too much.
So this won't be a shocker because we've had a handful of really awesome matches that we just can't stop talking about.
How many times have these guys fought? It's been quite a bit.
I've been saying this all year. They're just so great to watch. We saw the heel turn coming, and then when it happened, nice and bloody, both dramatic and beautiful.
You are now entering the ring with Chutes and Ladders podcast. Here are your hosts, Desiree and Jason.
Chutes and Ladders, WWE Spotlight, Mr. WrestleMania. What's going on, everyone? My name is Jason.
Hi, friends. It's Desiree Josen.
Today, the spotlight is on the man who didn't just perform at WrestleMania. He owned it. We're talking about Mr. WrestleMania, Shawn Michaels. Des, what are your initial thoughts? I know you're glowing.
This is a really good day because I get to talk about my man, Shawn Michaels, and how great he is. And I just like to reiterate to everybody else why he's so good and why he is the number one guy.
Love it. So we're going to go through some different talking points. And the first one is, Des, when you hear Mr. WrestleMania, what does that nickname really mean to you? Is it match quality, moments, legacy, or all of it?
It's everything. He is best all around. He is just the total package. He's a handsome man. He's athletic. He is true entertainment. He's fantastic on the mic. He knows how to build up a storyline, and he's performed for so many years, and he still is, the standard of what you want to do. And everybody, when they go to main event WrestleMania, they're like, I just want to be like Shawn Michaels. And I'm like, damn straight you do.
I love it. First talking point, one of the greatest WrestleManias of all time, which we've mentioned multiple times, WrestleMania 10. In my opinion, this is what really put Shawn Michaels on the map. We're talking about the ladder match against Razor Ramon. Des climbed the ladder with me, literally. When you look at WrestleMania 10, how revolutionary was this match for its time?
This is one of the best. The absolute best. I actually drank my coffee watching this morning, and it was so great. Just the fact that, okay, we'll just make this clear. This wasn't the first time they've ever used ladders, but this was the first time they used it in a pay-per-view. And it was huge because, this isn't just a weapon. This is a part of the storytelling. And, this started Money in the Bank, TLC, all of this extreme matches, and it built brands of guys that would throw themselves off of ladders, and we know who they are. And but with this specifically, in Madison Square Garden in 1994, the titles hung over the ladder. And fun fact, they only had one ladder, and they didn't have a backup, and so if it broke, they didn't have anything else, and that wasn't even a conversation. So I think that's hilarious, knowing today's matches. If you watched Money in the Bank this year, it broke, and luckily they had one underneath to continue with the match. But anyways, yeah, this was for the IC title, and the boys of the Clique, Diesel came out with Shawn. He got kicked out eventually, and it changed match psychology, and built the suspense of who is going to win and the slow sloth climb to the top.
1,000,000%. And all these years later, just like you just mentioned, TLC, one of my personal favorites, Money in the Bank, which everyone knows, high-risk storytelling, you have the tag team ladder matches as well. This has set the foundation for so many different matches for years to come. Undoubtedly, in my humble opinion, this is what really put Shawn Michaels on the map, and this is what really where Mr. WrestleMania started.
100%. It made him it just cemented the fact that he was a breakout singles competitor rather than him, just being that flashy guy with Sensational Sherry and, the guy at part of the Rockers. So it really catapulted him.
Absolutely. And speaking of catapulting, let's go to WrestleMania 12. Shawn Michaels versus Bret Hart, the very first Iron match in WWE history. Des, let's slow it down for 60 minutes. No shortcuts. Did this match redefine patience and psychology at WrestleMania?
I love this one just because I love Bret Hart and I love Shawn Michaels. And we talked about this in a previous episode. Go check it out. And it is very controversial just because a lot of people don't like it. And I get it. Just because it is 60 minutes, but if you appreciate a good match, good wrestling, and some, really fantastic guys, it's so good to watch. It's powerful, and they engaged us. And what I think is really cool is when you think of wrestling from the 80s and early 90s, it was like the big guy. They were 6'5" plus, huge bodybuilders. And so this was a good transition from those big guys like Hogan and Warrior to the smaller athletic performers and the technical wrestlers like Bret and Shawn. So this elevated technical wrestling and like a slow burn storyline because their heat was on fire. And it influenced a lot of other Iron Man matches, like, what was it, Triple H and The Rock, who else, Brock Lesnar and Kurt Angle. So, those are, really historical matches, and this one is one of the top-notch ones. But it launched Shawn into the Attitude Era. And as he got his boyhood dream of getting that world title. So we get that picture of him holding it. But yeah, this was just a smooth transition to, the late 90s of like the best time in wrestling history, but also cemented Shawn as like a franchise guy, like the guy at WWE.
Yeah, no doubt. It definitely did. I mean, it was the beginning of his era, the new era. Listen, a lot of people say Shawn Michaels is the best. The person across from me is saying that herself. Mm-hmm. And listen, I really do think, we talked about his WrestleMania 10 ladder match against Razor Ramon, but him winning the world title definitely solidified it, especially the first time, especially the way it went down against Bret Hart with such a feud that they had in a classic Iron Man match. So everything about that was perfection.
So good.
All right, now let's talk about another match. Fast forward a little bit, 7 years later, WrestleMania 19, Shawn Michaels versus Chris Jericho. One of the most underrated WrestleMania matches of all time. Des, mentor versus student, when you watch this match back, how layered was the storytelling between the two?
I absolutely love this one. Like you mentioned, it is underrated. And it is like the student versus the idol, student versus legend. And at that time, Chris Jericho was on fire. We loved him. He was just so charismatic, but so crazy. But what I loved about this was it added layers to a character. So Chris Jericho, was this cocky heel, but also this added like obsession and drama to him. And, he always looked up to Shawn, and he was very verbal about it, but then he wanted to like beat the hell out of him. And with this match, it was true storytelling of his desperation to be better than Shawn. And it was like the countering, the mirroring spots, the emotional pacing. And then at the very end, when he went for the handshake and then for the low blow, such a typical heel move. And we see it more and more today. We even saw it at Chamber with John and Cody. So those are always fun to watch. But it just showed that you didn't need, I guess, like a big title match for this to be the main event or to be the match that stole the show. And it also led to the feud not being over. It just took Jericho to another level as well. So it just also reinforced Shawn, as the second leg of his career, that he still had it. So, yeah.
Yeah, listen, everything you just said, I'm going to echo. But what's cool about this match was I think these two guys mirror each other with their charisma, style of wrestling, being high flyers when needed to be, knowing how to slow down any match for the psychological factor of it. I loved every single moment of this match. It definitely I think it was the match of the night. And that's saying a lot because WrestleMania 19 is actually pretty solid overall. But the fact that these two guys were able to kind of go off against each other. This was a match wrestling fans wanted for years. The fact that it happened at Mania just made it special. And again, there's so many great Shawn Michaels matches. We can't even list them all, but this is definitely one that stands out.
Awesome.
Speaking of another amazing match, I'm going to say it again. This is probably another underrated match. Let's fast forward 2 years to WrestleMania 21. Shawn Michaels versus Kurt Angle. Wow. I mean, you have the technical mastermind of Kurt Angle. You have the showstopper Shawn Michaels. Dez, this is dream match time. Did this one raise the bar for pure in-ring excellence at WrestleMania?
I think so. It was just so good. Just because you have two really technical wrestlers, and one is a gold medalist Olympian. So this was truly the dream match of like Mr. WrestleMania, the Entertainer, with Mr. Olympian. Like, why would you not put these two together? And, again, it proved that a non-title match could steal the show. Super technical. And, Angle claiming that he was better than Shawn, and then Shawn trying to out-wrestle a gold medalist. It's just, it's fun to see these two egos go at it in the ring. And what's crazy is you don't see Shawn lose in a submission very often, and he did to an Angle lock. So it's very rare to see that, and I love that. And it put both the guys over. And again, it cemented Kurt as one of the greatest. He didn't have to prove anything, but he did. And then the same for Shawn. It cemented his second leg of his career. This was his comeback, and he could still perform and still be Mr. WrestleMania. So this was so good.
Yes. Again, I'm going to echo everything again that you just said. The fact that they went back and forth, even from a technical standpoint, which a lot of us didn't necessarily comment. And just like you said, he did tap out, which you could probably count the number of, count how many times on your hand, how many times he actually tapped out, but it was done on purpose. It was done only for the wrestlers that were basically worth it, and Kurt Angle was one of them. Mm-hmm. Again, another thing you just mentioned, again, this wasn't for the title. This speaks volumes about Shawn Michaels. He doesn't necessarily need to fight for a title to have a phenomenal match. So, yeah, loved that one as well. Mm-hmm. All right, now let's talk about what a lot of people say is the greatest WrestleMania match of all time, and that's saying a lot. WrestleMania 25, Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker. Des, be honest. Is this the greatest WrestleMania match ever, and why did it feel different?
I would say so, because as soon as you started talking about it, I got chills. So, there was just something special about this, and I don't know if it's the nostalgia. It could be that's what it is, but with Undertaker and Shawn Michaels, they have such a history, and they have evolved their character and, their relationship throughout the years and through different eras of WWE. So we grew up with these men, and, again, this was not a title match. We don't need gold for these two guys. They have done enough where they don't need to prove anything. And it was just, I feel like this was a legacy match, really. And, with Shawn trying to break Taker's streak at the time, I think he was 16-0. And, I just feel like I always laugh and say this is like the master class of wrestling. Like, this is a clinic. Please watch it and take notes. But it was just the emotional pacing, the physicality. Be mindful, these guys are older, and they could still put it down in the ring. And with that really awesome spot with Taker flying over the ropes, and it just redefined wrestling and the close near falls. But what I love is the emotional impact that it had on them, but on us. We were so emotionally invested in these two guys, where we want Shawn to win, but we also don't want Taker to break a streak. But, of course, we know what happens. Taker, 17-0, whatever. But it just cemented them as GOATs. They are Mount Rushmores. They are Hall of Famers for a reason. And there's no words that could really explain it, how damn good they are.
Yeah, and so many emotions kind of come with this match. They battled it out in the Royal Rumble where Undertaker won in San Antonio. That that was arguably the best finish of any Rumble, in my humble opinion. Years prior, back in the late 90s, Shawn Michaels actually beat Undertaker twice. Fast forward all those years later, now they're back in the ring. They wanted to make it special. They did. Wow. So, and again, so basically, if you wanted to, count score, they were basically 2-2-1 now. So, because Taker ended up winning the following year at Mania as well. But again, it doesn't matter who wins or loses necessarily, because everyone won while watching this match. This was, honestly, to say that this is the greatest match ever, that's saying a lot. If anything kind of come close or even 3/4 what this was. I mean, you have two legends from the very beginning. These guys have been wrestling since the 80s.
Yeah.
But all these years later, the fact that they were able to bring it like that just speaks volume of who they are. But yeah, there's so many great matches. But yeah, this one definitely feels like it took the cake. And again, there's we can't even list all the matches that Shawn Michaels had. That was amazing. But there's a reason why he's Mr. WrestleMania, and he didn't necessarily win all these matches that we talked about. In fact, he lost majority of the ones that we're talking about. But he still brought Mr. WrestleMania to WrestleMania, and that's what makes it special.
Hell yeah.
And Des, what are your final thoughts? When it's all said and done, what is Shawn Michaels' greatest WrestleMania contribution? Innovation, storytelling, endurance, influence, or everything?
I think it's a little bit of everything. And I know I sound like a crazy fan. I love this man so much, but it's because he is a true star. He is the total package of what a wrestler should be. He brings eyes, he brings butts in seats, and from the moment you hear his entrance music, we know what it is, and just him coming out and just dancing around in that ring, and then with that sweet chin music, it's just, he is everything. He is true entertainment, but athleticism, and he backs it up too. And, through time again, he is absolutely timeless. He is a classic. He is the true standard of what a main eventer should be, and I know everyone tries to be just like it, and I can appreciate anyone who tries to attempt to be better.
100% agree. Thank you so much for what you've done, Miss WrestleMania. That actually wraps up this episode. What are your thoughts on Shawn Michaels, aka Mr. WrestleMania? Shoot us a DM at the Shoots and Ladders. Like always, please like, share, and subscribe both on YouTube and Spotify. Once again, my name is Jason.
I'm Desiree Josten.
All right, until next time, have a blessed day and a blessed week.
Have a great week. Bye, friends.
This has been Shoots and Ladders. Follow us for more content.